The battle for the Republican nomination is getting even nastier.
Who knew that could happen?
Absolutely. The current feud between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz reached new heights when they brought their wives into the mix.
Donald Trump retweeted a side-by-side photo of his wife Melania with Ted's wife Heidi, along with the caption, "A picture is worth 1,000 words." Cruz tweeted back saying, "Donald, real men don't attack women. Your wife is lovely, and Heidi is the love of my life."
This began when an anti-Trump super PAC ran an ad featuring a racy photo of Trump's wife. Trump responded by threatening to, quote, spill the beans on Cruz's wife. CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris is in Washington, and CBSN political contributor and former John McCain campaign manager Rick Davis is in San Diego. Thank you both for taking the time to be with us. Rick, I want to start with you. You've been on the campaign trail. You've spent many years. What do you make of this? Have you ever seen a battle this personal between two candidates?
This is pretty personal. You know, when you get into attacking and counterattacking each other's spouses, you're really kind of digging down to a pretty new low. I don't really understand it because for Donald Trump, he's on a glide path toward the nomination. He shouldn't even be paying attention to Cruz. He ought to have his focus on the prize, get the nomination, and go after Hillary Clinton. I can imagine attacking Hillary Clinton's spouse would get him a lot more political value than attacking Ted Cruz's spouse.
Well, Steve, I want to ask you, because at the beginning of this campaign, this isn't the first time that Donald Trump has retweeted something about one of the candidates' wives. Jeb Bush, he actually went after his wife at the beginning of the campaign and then later said, well, I didn't authorize this tweet. Now we see this happening. He has 7 million followers. Is this kind of like taking the internet trolls and giving them legs during this campaign?
I don't want to read too much into the Twitter back and forth and Twitter war and what that means in terms of voters. I do want to point out this plays into the narrative of two things. One, that Trump is disrespectful toward women, or at least that's what his critics are charging. And two, that this is going to be a problem, I think, for him in the general election if he's up against Hillary Clinton. And so, you know, I agree with Rick. He didn't need to get into this fight with Cruz. Like, let's look at this from the beginning. Cruz is no angel here. This was a pro-Cruz super PAC that started this. Cruz never really denounced it strongly. And instead of just ignoring it or letting it go, Trump decided to get baited into this argument, and now he's playing into a negative narrative that is dogging him. So, continuing on with the tweets and retweets, I think that just plays into Trump's critics on the women issue. And again, I don't think it's going to have an immediate impact, but long term, this is an issue for him, and these examples just keep piling up for him.
Rick, at the end of the day, doesn't this just ultimately damage the GOP as a whole and benefit Clinton and the Democrats?
Yeah, the more Donald Trump takes on the mantle as party leader and nominee of the party, the GOP gets defined in his image. And as Steve said, one of the most dangerous things about all this is the image that he has a distraction when it comes to women. The attacks on Megyn Kelly at the beginning of the week didn't go long before they were turned into attacks against Ted Cruz's wife. And I agree with Steve. There's blood on everybody's hands on this, but the one guy who actually it matters is the potential nominee of the party, Trump, and he certainly isn't rising above it all.
Steve, you know, 3 recent polls just came out today, including one from Monmouth University, and it shows that Kasich actually has the best shot of winning against Hillary Clinton. It showed him with 45%, 39% for Clinton. You know, as Rick said, you know, we're watching Trump basically seal the deal here as he's getting all of these delegates. Is it too late for Kasich, even when you see something like that in a poll?
Yeah, I mean, he's mathematically not able to clinch the nomination. He just can't do it. And so if his goal is to have a contested convention and then have his name thrown into the mix as a possible nominee of the party, well, you could make that argument probably for half the people who ran in the Republican primary this year. I mean, there are probably a lot of those folks who, if you put them up against Clinton, would score better than Trump or Cruz. And so why Kasich? I don't know, just because he's the last one standing. It doesn't seem like it's a real solid foundation to base your argument to be the nominee of the party. He's got to start winning states. He's won his home state, and that's it. And again, mathematically impossible for him to clinch the nomination via delegates at this point.
Well, I was reading an article, though, Rick, a little bit earlier that said that John Kasich is even going into states that have already held their primaries and asking for the delegates to be rerouted or to maybe think about it again once they get to the convention. What do you make of that?
Utter waste of time. John Kasich should get out of the race. The only chance you have to slow the nomination process for Donald Trump is to take away the winner-take-all states. The only way you do that is to have one-on-one contests, and Kasich is in the process right now of dividing the field. He's the least likely nominee out of the three remaining, and if he stays in and Donald Trump wins out the winner-take-all states, he will have single-handedly ensured that Donald Trump has the necessary delegates to be the nominee before the convention.
All right. Well, while the personal attacks have dominated the headlines, the terror attacks in Brussels are also reshaping the GOP race, making national security a top issue on the campaign trail. After Ted Cruz called for patrolling Muslim neighborhoods, Trump said he would consider using nuclear weapons against ISIS. Listen to this.
I'm never going to rule anything out.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to say, even if I felt it wasn't going, I wouldn't want to tell you that.
Right.
Because at a minimum, I want them to think maybe we would use it, okay?
Right.
It's the worst thing when we do these interviews with everybody, not me.
Yeah.
And you ask a question like that, and everybody comes clean and they're so honest. We need unpredictability.
Steve, your thoughts?
Well, he's not saying he's going to consider using nuclear weapons. What he's saying is he's not ruling it out, which is this game that he plays, which is, I want to be unpredictable going into negotiations. I don't want our enemies to know what I'm going to do. The problem is it plays into this question of temperament. If he doesn't rule out nuclear weapons, people think that he's got his finger on the button, and I think that can hurt him, especially in a general election situation where people are asking the question, do we want this guy to have his finger on the nuclear button?
Well, Rick, I want to go ahead and read something to you, too, that Ted Cruz then said. He said, we need to empower law enforcement to patrol and secure Muslim neighborhoods before they become radicalized. The Texas senator's comments then drew a lot of criticism. When you look at this, his statement about securing Muslim neighborhoods before they become radicalized, how do you respond, Rick?
Look, New York City is probably one of the most difficult cities in the world to protect. And it has been the program of the New York City Police, which is one of the largest police forces in the world, to constantly patrol neighborhoods in order to ensure that, one, people see their presence, and two, that they are in touch with what's happening inside these neighborhoods. Now, picking out specific neighborhoods by religion or ethnic background is targeting. And, we have a lot of aversions to that in the United States. But at the end of the day, I think that it's not far off from current police practices to patrol those neighborhoods anyway, if they think that they're potential threats, either by terrorists or other kinds of people who are set on breaking the law. So I do think Hillary made good use of it politically. She jumped right on it last night. At least she didn't get involved in the spouse wars too much. And I think you see the beginnings of how do we protect our country debate that'll exist between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump as the nominee. My guess is that these are all issues that we're going to see and hear a lot about between now and Election Day.
Okay, Rick Davis and Steve Chaggaris, thank you both so much for being with us.
Thanks.